My relationship ended last Friday night, and she didn't even know it yet. It wasn't some huge dramatic fight. No shouting match, no tearful confession. The end was a casual, cheerful admission. A single sentence that sliced through 2 years of my life and left it in tatters. Before heading out to a concert with her friends, I overheard my girlfriend, Ashley, laugh and say, "I shaved my whole body." Just in case. They all laughed. I said nothing, but the next morning, while she was still hung over and stumbling around, she found her things packed by the door. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't ask for an explanation. I just listened to that one sentence, and it was enough. The words echoed in my head all night while she was out. Just in case. It was a joke to her and her friends, but to me, it was a bullet point summary of her lack of respect for me and our 2-year relationship. Ashley, that's her name. We live together in my apartment. I say my apartment because my name is the only one on the lease. A fact that would become very important very quickly. She was getting ready in the bedroom with her two friends, Becca and Jess, while I was in the living room, ostensibly watching TV. The door was ajar and their voices carried. They were excited, talking about the band, what they were going to wear, how much they were going to drink. Then came the comment. Ashley said it loud and proud. Jess shrieked with laughter. Becca's laugh was a little more hesitant, I thought, but she laughed too. My blood went cold. I didn't move a muscle. I just sat there on the couch, staring at the muted screen, replaying the words in my head. It wasn't just the cheating implication. It was the casual, premeditated nature of it. It was the fact that she said it in front of her friends, turning my potential humiliation into a fun little inside joke for their girls' night out. When they came out of the bedroom, she was glowing. She'd spent hours on her hair and makeup. She was wearing a dress I'd never seen before. She came over and gave me a quick, performative kiss. "We're heading out," she said, her voice bright. "Don't wait up. It's going to be a late one." "Okay," I said, my voice perfectly level. "Have fun. Be safe." She didn't notice a thing. She didn't see the look in my eyes. She just saw the compliant boyfriend she was leaving behind while she went out to keep her options open. They left, and the apartment was quiet for about 10 minutes. I just sat there. I didn't feel rage. I felt clarity. It was like a switch had been flipped. All the little red flags from the past 2 years suddenly arranged themselves into one big waving banner. The way she'd hide her phone screen, the work dinners that went until 2 a.m., the way she'd talk about her exes a little too fondly. It all made sense now, so I got to work. I started in the bedroom closet. I pulled out 3 large duffel bags and a couple of empty boxes from the top shelf. I went through her side of the closet and methodically took every piece of her clothing off its hanger, folded it, and packed it. Her shoes went into a box. I went to the bathroom and swept all of her makeup, her dozens of lotions and potions, into another box. I was careful not to break anything. This wasn't about mindless destruction. This was a calm, logistical exercise, an eviction. I packed everything, her books, her laptop, the little trinkets she kept on her nightstand, by 3 a.m. Every single thing she owned that was in my apartment was neatly packed and stacked by the front door. I left her keys on top of the main box. I took a picture of the pile of her belongings, time-stamped at 3:17 a.m. Then I went to bed in the guest room. I didn't want to sleep in her bed. She stumbled in around 4 a.m., drunk and loud. I heard her trip over one of the boxes and curse. Then there was a long, dead silence. "Kevin," she called out, her voice suddenly small and sober. I didn't answer. I heard her walk through the apartment. She looked in the bedroom. She saw the empty closet, the bare surfaces on her side of the room. I heard her sharp intake of breath. "Kevin, what the hell is this?" she yelled, banging on the guest room door. "Open this door. What is going on?" I stayed silent. I put in my earplugs, eventually. After about 20 minutes of her yelling and crying, she gave up. I heard her dragging the bags and boxes out the door one by one. The whole process took her nearly an hour. The sound of the front door slamming shut was the best sound I'd ever heard. She started blowing up my phone immediately, calls I didn't answer, texts that escalated from confused to angry to pleading. I let them all pile up. I finally fell asleep around dawn. When I woke up, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't felt in years. I went to the kitchen to make coffee and saw she'd left a furious, tear-stained note on the counter. I crumpled it up without reading it and threw it in the trash. My first call was not to her, but to my sister, Jenna. Jenna is a lawyer. She's sharp, pragmatic, and has never liked Ashley. "It's over," I said as soon as she picked up. I explained what I'd overheard and what I'd done. "Good," was all she said at first. Then the lawyer in her kicked in. "Okay, let's get ahead of this. Is her name on the lease?" "No, just mine." "Perfect. That makes her a guest, not a tenant. You have every right to revoke her permission to be in your home at any time, for any reason. You gave her all her stuff back, so she can't claim you stole anything. First thing you need to do is change the locks today. Already call the locksmith. He's coming at 10 a.m. I said. "Good boy," she said. "Next, the car." The car a year ago. Ashley's old junker had died. She wanted a new one, a nice one, but her credit was garbage. She begged me to co-sign the loan for a 2-year-old Audi. I was hesitant, but I'd caved. I was the primary reason she was approved. And my name was right there on the loan document next to hers. She made the payments, but the loan was my liability as much as it was hers. "What about the car?" I asked, as a co-signer. "You have certain rights," Jenna explained. "You are equally liable for the debt, which also means you have a right to the asset if the primary borrower defaults or violates the terms of the loan agreement. Pull up that loan agreement right now. I want you to read me the section on delinquency and repossession." I had the original loan documents in my filing cabinet. I found the clause. It stated that if a payment was more than 30 days late, the lender had the right to repossess the vehicle without notice. It also had a clause about the co-signer's responsibilities, which included notifying the lender of any change in the primary borrower's circumstances that could affect their ability to pay, such as a change of address or employment. "She's going to try and use the car as leverage," Jenna said. "She'll either threaten to stop paying, sticking you with the bill, or she'll use it to force you to talk to her. We need to neutralize that for now. Just keep that document handy." The locksmith came and went. The new keys felt solid in my hand. Then I sat down and did something I should have done a long time ago. I went through our shared finances. She would Venmo me her half of the rent and utilities each month. I scrolled back through the last year of payments. Sure enough, she had been late 4 times. Once by over 2 weeks. I took screenshots of each late payment, complete with their timestamps. This was evidence. It wasn't about the money. It was about establishing a pattern of unreliability. The next front, as expected, was our mutual friends by noon on Saturday. The smear campaign had begun. My friend Mark sent me a text. "Hey man, Ashley is lighting up the group chat. She's saying you went crazy and kicked her out for no reason while she was sleeping. People are freaking out." Ashley's version of the story was that I was an insecure, controlling monster who had been looking for an excuse to dump her. She completely omitted the shaved comment, of course. She was painting this as a sudden psychotic break on my part. I called Mark. "She's lying. I'm sure you can guess there's more to the story." "I figured," he said. "But she's being really convincing, crying, saying she's scared of you." This was where I had to be careful. "A public," she said, "would just be messy. I needed something undeniable." I thought about Becca, the friend who had been there when Ashley made the comment. Her laugh had sounded hesitant. I scrolled through my contacts and found her number. I sent her a simple text. "Hey, Becca, I know you're in an awkward position, but I need to ask you a question. Was I wrong to be upset by what Ashley said last night before you all left?" Her reply came back almost instantly. "No, you weren't. It was a crappy thing to say." I told her that in the car. This was my opening. She's telling everyone I kicked her out for no reason. Is there any chance you'd be willing to tell me what was said after that in the group chat or whatever? I'm not trying to start a war. I just want the truth to be out there. I waited for 10 minutes. Nothing. I figured she didn't want to get involved. Then my phone buzzed. It was a screenshot from Becca. It was from their girls' group chat, timestamped Friday at 9:15 p.m., about 20 minutes after they had left my apartment. Jess had written, "That hot guitarist is totally checking you out." Ashley's reply was, "I know, right, fingers crossed, lol. Good thing I came prepared." Becca's only contribution was a simple eye roll emoji. This was the smoking gun. It wasn't just a thoughtless comment. It was a plan, an intention. The joke continued long after she'd left my presence. I sent the screenshot to Mark. This was the joke. I texted, "Feel free to share this in the group chat. I'm not going to argue with her. But people should see the truth." Mark's reply was swift. "Holy crap. Okay. Sending it now." I can only imagine the explosion that screenshot caused. Within an hour, I had texts from 3 other friends. "Dude, I'm so sorry. We should have known better. Ashley is insane." Her support network had evaporated. The narrative she was carefully crafting had been demolished by a single piece of evidence provided by one of her own friends who had a conscience. Ashley, of course, went ballistic. She accused Becca of being a traitor. Becca, according to a later text from Mark, simply replied, "I'm not going to lie for you, Ashley. What you did was wrong." Becca then left the group chat. With the social firestorm handled, I turned my attention back to the car. I knew it was only a matter of time before she tried to use it against me. Sure enough, on Monday morning, I got a furious email from her. Her number was blocked, so email was her only route. The subject was the car. "You think you can just ruin my life and get away with it? You co-signed for my car. My car. If you don't agree to meet me and talk this out like adults, I'm going to stop making payments. Then let's see how your perfect credit score looks. The ball is in your court." It was exactly the threat Jenna had predicted. But instead of feeling panicked, I felt calm. She had just given me exactly what I needed. Her threat in writing was a clear statement of intent to default on the loan agreement. I didn't reply to her. Instead, I called the auto finance company. I got a loan officer on the phone and explained the situation calmly and factually. "Hello, my name is Kevin Miller. I'm the co-signer on loan number 788B4. The primary borrower is Ashley Benson. I'm calling because I have reason to believe the asset is at risk. Miss Benson is no longer residing at the address on file, and I am not aware of her current stable address. Furthermore, she has notified me in writing of her intent to cease making payments in violation of the loan agreement." The loan officer was all business. "Do you have that notification in writing, sir?" "I do," I said. "It's in an email timestamped this morning at 8:42 a.m. I can forward it to you. Please do. Send it to our collections department email. I'll give you the address. Once we receive that, we will open a case file." Given the stated intent to default and the instability of the borrower's living situation, we may need to secure the asset. "Do you have any information about the vehicle's current location?" I did. Mark had told me Ashley was crashing on Jess's couch. I knew where Jess lived. I gave the loan officer Jess's address. "I believe the car is typically parked on the street near this address. Thank you, Mr. Miller. We'll take it from here. You'll be notified of any action taken." I forwarded Ashley's threatening email to the bank. Then I sat back and waited. I had simply provided the lender with true and factual information. I had reported a risk to their asset, as was my responsibility as a co-signer. Their actions were their own. 2 days later, on Wednesday evening, I was driving home from the gym when I decided to take a detour past Jess's apartment building. And there it was. A tow truck was hooking up Ashley's Audi. Ashley and Jess were on the sidewalk, both yelling at the repo man, who was ignoring them with the practiced indifference of someone who deals with this every day. Ashley was crying, a full-blown hysterical meltdown. I didn't slow down. I just drove past, a ghost in the traffic. I didn't feel a surge of triumph or a grim satisfaction. I just felt a quiet sense of order being restored. She had made her choices. These were the consequences. The fallout from the repossession was immediate. She left me a dozen screaming voicemails on my now unblocked phone. I had unblocked it to see what she would say. She threatened to sue me for stealing her car, for ruining her life, for everything under the sun. They were the empty, powerless threats of someone who had lost all control. I listened to them all, saved them to a folder on my computer, and then blocked her number again. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place about a month later. Things had been quiet. I'd gone out for coffee with Becca to thank her. She told me Ashley had burned all her bridges, alienating everyone with her lies and her drama. She was still living with Jess. But it was getting tense. She was broke, carless, and miserable. One afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. I normally don't answer, but I was expecting a call from a contractor, so I picked up. "Hi, am I speaking with Kevin Miller?" A professional-sounding woman asked. "My name is Susan, and I'm the property manager for the Elm Park Apartments. I'm calling for a landlord reference for an applicant, Ashley Benson. She listed you as her most recent landlord." I had to suppress a laugh. The sheer nerve was astonishing. She was trying to use me to secure her new life even after everything that had happened. "I can help you with that," I said, my voice calm and professional. "Great," Susan said. "So, can you confirm that Miss Benson was a tenant of yours for the last 2 years?" "I can confirm that she resided in my apartment for approximately 22 months, I said, choosing my words carefully. "However, she was never a signatory on my lease agreement. She was a long-term guest." There was a pause on the other end. "Oh, I see. And did she contribute to the rent?" "She did. She would transfer her half of the rent to me each month." "And were those payments made on time?" I pulled up the screenshots I had saved. According to my records, her payment was late 4 times in the last 12 months. Specifically, it was late in February, May, August, and October of last year. The August payment was 16 days late. "I see," Susan said again, her voice now much cooler. "And just one final question, based on your experience. Would you rent to Miss Benson again in the future?" I paused for a beat, letting the silence hang in the air. "No comment," I said. "Right," she said. "Well, that's all the information I need. Thank you for your time, Mr. Miller." She hung up. I knew with absolute certainty that Ashley's application had just been denied. I had not lied. I had not slandered her. I simply told the truth, and the consequences of her choices followed her, just as they always would. The most brutal kind of revenge isn't loud or violent. It's quiet, it's calculated, and it lets the truth do the work for you.